Big welcome to today's demonstration. Thanks a million everyone for joining us, and I have great plans for today. I'm going to teach you a lovely idea. But before we get started, I need everybody to comment below. Let me know where you're watching in from, what part of the world you're watching in from, and obviously here at Case Flower School we need to know what's the weather like around the world. So today, what we do here at the school are commercial courses in flower arranging, bridal floristry, that would be like wedding bouquets, event and hotel decoration, hand-tied bouquets, funeral wreaths, remembrance wreaths. Oh my God, we cover absolutely everything. And it's not just the practical end of flower arranging and floristry. We also cover the business end. So whether it be making a flower arrangement and you want to know like how many flowers will I need to make that display. Do you ever like peel the potatoes for the dinner? And how do you know how many potatoes to peel for your family of 4 or your family of 5? Or how much pasta to put in the pot for your family of 6? Or how much rice to put in the pot for your family of 10 kids. Do you ever wonder, how do you know? And like if you say it to a mum, she just says, I just know. Well, after a while, with experience, because that's really what it is, in floristry and flower arranging, yes, with experience, you will know exactly how many flowers you will need. Or you will know by looking at the flowers in front of you what size arrangement it's possible to make, you know what I mean, in that particular display. But that's something we teach you at the class. We teach you how to work out your stem count, how to work out your cost price, and how to work out your selling price. So just so far, I'm going to do a kind of a meadow box arrangement. This could be used, it could be used as a gift idea. It could be used in front of a grave. It could be used as an altar arrangement, low down on the ground. It could be used as an aisle runner, because obviously you could use like larger containers. So it's kind of like a window box style. So this is a container that I picked up in the wholesalers. And again, as part of our training here at the school, we teach you all about wholesalers, about what you need, about VAT cards, about trade cards, about opening up accounts with wholesalers, whether it be in your country of origin, because again, we get students from all parts of the world. Like, it's not just Ireland and the UK, we get students from all parts of the world. So again, we cover wholesalers for all parts of the world. The other thing what we have, like for our students, like it's not just a matter of just doing a course with ourselves and then saying, oh God, like that's it, you know, that way we've done the course and we're finished. We always have this motto, once a student of K's, always a student of K's. So on our website, we have a button on the website which is called Student Resource. And what it is with the student resource, it's kind of like a backup support, a continuous support for our students, you know, that way when they're finished training with us. And basically with the student resource, we keep it updated all the time. So whether it be about wholesalers, like when they go into their student resource, they can click on wholesalers and they'll get the name of the wholesaler if they're in South Africa, if they're in Florida in America, if they're in Poland, if they're in the UK, if they're in Ireland, if they're in Dubai. They will get the name of the wholesaler, what that wholesaler sells, what the minimum cost, what the transport charges are, what the rep's name is, his email, her phone number, etc. And everything that they need to know about that particular wholesaler. And for some of our wholesalers, we have discount codes. A lot of you probably know our discount code is KAYSFS. It works across the board in most of the suppliers. And it means they get a 5 to 10% discount off the wholesaler that they're using. Or the other thing that we would have is where we have like temporary logins. So if they haven't yet got an account with a particular supplier, is that they can actually go in, use like a temporary login into the account, okay? And then they're able to see exactly what's available in that particular wholesaler. And they can see like what the cost prices and the selling prices would be. Basically they would see everything as if they actually had a proper account with that supplier. So the flowers that I'm inserting there into the floral foam is called peonies. A lot of you probably have watched our videos on how to get your peonies open or how to stop your peonies opening. And again, you probably have seen the videos with my dad, you know, the way, do your peonies look like this? And would you like them to look like this? So just to kind of give you an idea there how I'm starting off. Now obviously this is a demonstration, so it's not like I'm showing you, but I'm not teaching you. So when you're actually here at the school and you're doing our online courses, we go through everything exactly. That we go through like why I'm inserting this flower here. Or this particular rose is called Playa Blanca, and it's an Ecuadorian rose, okay, and it's going to blow absolutely huge, you know that way, over a few days. And that when you buy them in, they are a rose that likes to be like kept wrapped up in the cardboard for its first couple of hours while it has a drink, and then it will blow open absolutely amazing. It's beautiful for wedding work, like for bridal work, even though I'm not doing this as a bridal bouquet, obviously. It is more of a flower arranging. The pink rose that I'm inserting in there now is actually called the Sophia Loren rose, which again is a beautiful rose, you know, the beautiful shades of pinks. And again, if you're using it with peaches or pinks, it's absolutely amazing. It's a fabulous, fabulous rose, and the scent of them is gorgeous. This one here is called Toffee Rose. Again, it's actually an Ecuadorian rose, but when I was making it, I actually broke one of them. It's just down low here in the vase. But that's the great thing about flower arranging, is you're able to use up absolutely everything. Nothing goes to waste. Again, just going to turn that around, just kind of to give you an idea how it's actually coming together. I'm trying to use like a selection of flowers here. And this would be ideal as I said, like a wedding display. Because if the bride wanted this selection of flowers, like in her wedding bouquet, you can see all the different varieties. These are a spray rose is the name of these, and they're absolutely gorgeous. The colour of them is fantastic. So if the bride has picked all these kind of varieties and colours of roses that she would like in her wedding bouquet, well, the florist is going to be left with a huge selection of, if you want to call it, like leftovers. Because you can't go into the wholesalers and just buy 3 stems of spray roses, even though that's what I'm actually using in this particular arrangement. You have to buy them in 10s. So it means then the florist is going to be left with the other remaining stems. It's the same with our coral peony. I'd have to buy 10 stems. Or our purple peony, I have to buy 10 stems. Or our toffee rose, I have to buy 20. Or our Sophia Loren rose, I have to buy 10. Or our Playa Blanca roses, I have to buy 20. So you can see that to buy in the makings of this arrangement, it could work out that little bit expensive. And again, it's all about understanding cost prices and selling prices and wholesalers and minimum costs, etc. Are these absolutely beautiful? These are called sweet pea, and they come from a grower in Holland, which we actually visited that grower when we were in Holland. Liatus is the name of them, and we actually seen probably these sweet peas, okay, we've seen the sweet peas growing. We've seen them from seed, you know that way. We've seen them from like, you know what I mean, 2 weeks old, 4 weeks old, 6 weeks old, and so on. We've seen them right through all the stages until they actually picked them, and then until they packed them into the box and they were sent as a supplier. These sweet peas came through Van der Plas. So Van der Plas is the name of a Dutch wholesaler based in the Netherlands that we would buy a lot of our flowers in. Like, we buy lots of flowers from lots and lots of different suppliers. Well, what I'm trying to do here, you can see I'm using the grouping method, okay? And I want that the customer is able to look, or again the wedding party, that they can see all the colours or all the selection of flowers that we're using. This twig here, by the way, is actually an artificial twig, but you could easily substitute it for a fresh twig. This is called clematis, and again, it's absolutely beautiful. A lot of people have it grown in their garden, and a lot of people kind of pronounce it clematis, you know, so clematis, clematis. But like up till a while ago, it wouldn't have been as popular as a cut flower. It kind of was more kind of popular, I suppose. Just have a broken stem here, just cutting out a little broken one there. It would have been more kind of like known or more common as an actual, you know, something that you would grow in your garden. So even though this is going to be one-sided, I do want to bring just a little bit of flower around to the back. And it's a great way of me using up some of that little shorter flower where I had actually broken the stem, but you can see the way I'm able to use it up. I have one more flower here, yeah, a little bit of a broken stem on it there, and we'll just reinsert that one there, back down again. So you can see the way I'm bringing a little bit of flower into the back. And even at the back of the arrangement here, I have like campanula. So this is a beautiful fairy tale flower, especially like if you're doing that kind of like fairy tale wedding, they nearly look like little fairy cups or fairy thimbles, absolutely beautiful. Or another flower that I have here is delphinium. So again, just maybe out a little bit more to the left hand side. I'm going to bring out a little bit of the delphinium over to this side. And a lot of you probably kind of are more familiar with the delphinium as a real tall flower, but this is just kind of like showing you where you can actually get it as a kind of a minier version. And you see the way I'm actually cutting the stems, that I'm getting like 2 or 3 pieces, again just to show you there, like being able to cut down in between the stem, that I can actually get 2 or 3 pieces out of a stem, that you're actually getting better mileage. And again, these are things that we would be teaching you as part of your training here at Kay's Flower School. Now I know a lot of people would love to do a class, but again, you're unsure, you know that way. Is this the class for you? Is this what you want to do? This beautiful rose here is called Buttercup, and they come from a grower in Holland called Berg Roses. And when we were actually in Holland, we actually visited Berg Roses. Again, make sure that you check out the blog on our website, because again, you'll be able to see where we visited the different growers and be able to see all the different flowers growing. Another rose that I have here, this one is called Doris Day. Beautiful kind of like pale subtle rose. And again, when they kind of mature a little bit more, you're able to reflex them. Do you see the way I'm like getting the petals and just kind of like turning them inside out? They're a beautiful rose, and again, for bridal bouquets, they're absolutely magnificent. Now you will find with reflexing the rose, it's always better if it's a day or 2 old, where these are actually brand new. These aren't long in from the grower, they've just kind of been hydrated, so they are extremely fresh. So don't want to kind of like force them too much, but you see the way you can actually reflex your rose. And again, they look beautiful in arrangements. So back to the Doris Day rose, little story behind the Doris Day rose. Originally this rose was called the Elizabeth Taylor rose. And then for some reason Berg Roses decided to change the name of it to the Doris Day. I actually like Doris Day. Anybody else watch the Doris Day movie? And again, I actually like that name. So just trying to show you lots of different varieties. So this is the Playa Blanca rose, your Toffee rose, your Sophie Loren rose, your Buttercup rose. We have peonies, we have spray roses, we have Doris Day, we have delphinium, and we have sweet pea. We have the campanula at the back, and also then we have the artificial twig. So, oh, the sweet pea, forgot about the sweet pea. So I have another few little stems of the clematis, which I'm just going to like bounce in out through that arrangement, just to give us a little bit more movement here and there. So again, not actually grouping this part, just letting them kind of like bounce through it, a little bit of filler, and again a little bit of bounce in the arrangement, again just to kind of like let you see how that's coming together. And just at the back side here, I'm just going to add in another little bit of sweet pea. So even though it is a one-sided arrangement, I do want the customer to be able to look at the back and say, oh God, isn't this beautiful as well? But if it was like going on an eye runner or maybe in front of something, I probably wouldn't bother wasting flowers, like placing them into the back like that. The last stage of this flower arrangement is a little bit of coverage, like a little bit of like filling in the arrangement. And normally what I would use for that is a bit of greenery. That is one way you could fill it in. But also what I have is a little bit of dried statice, dried limonium. Where did I put it? I think it fell off the other side of the table there, Deirdre, for me, didn't it? The dried statice. And also what I have is the chalmead. What's that called again? I'm just pronouncing that wrong. Anyway, this green flower here, I'm going to use that as a little bit of a filler. Alchemilla. So I'm going to use that as, again, a little bit of a filler. So it is like kind of a foliage, but it is kind of a flower as well. So it just gives me something different. So this here is your limonium or your statice, okay? It is part of the statice family, or sea spray would be another name for it. And this is where 1 week I would have bought it in, and I would have had loads and loads of extra that I didn't need. So rather than wasting it and throwing it in the bin or letting it die, what I literally did was tie a string around it, hung it upside down, and I let it dry out. So even though this is a fresh flower arrangement that I'm making, to see the way I'm going to add a little bit of dried flower in and out through it, just to give us a little bit of texture. And even in around the back of the arrangement here, again just with the colours and the shades that I'm using, I do think it would be nice. I'll use a little bit of foliage as well. Now, most of the arrangements, typical traditional arrangements that you've seen me making here as our demonstration classes, you may see that I put the foliage in first. But you know, to be honest, there's so many different techniques. And between our 4 modules, like we have module 1, which is a beginner's flower arranging course. Now when I say beginners, like, because a lot of people come to us and say, oh, I've dabbled in flowers and I've done flowers, or I've done City and Guilds level 1, am I ready to go to module 2? No, you're not. But the reason is, when we do our module 1 beginners program, we don't just stay at the beginners level, we actually bring our students to the next level in flower arranging for free, do you know, that way. So what happens then is when we get students that have done City and Guilds level 1, they're way behind because we have brought our students to the next level. You kind of find with syllabus and with kind of like government and so on, they kind of say, well, this is what you have to teach them. But like a lot of teachers just stick to the syllabus, what they actually have to teach. Where we prefer to kind of always add in that little bit extra. So again, I'm just going to use a little bit more of this kind of like as a little bit of a filler. So you will find our beginners course does go quite advanced, okay? So just to be aware of that. Another thing then, after module 1, they normally go on to module 2. And always think as module 2 as being a continuation of module 1. So if you didn't do module 1 and you come straight onto module 2, I guarantee you are going to be way behind the rest of the students. But a lot of people insist on doing that, and if that's what you want to do, we will allow you to do it. But then they find that they end up having to go back and do module 1 eventually. Do you know that way? Because there's so much that they have missed out on. There's so much involved in flower arranging, floristry, event and hotel decoration, whatever it might be. This is another beautiful flower. I just hate the name of it. It's called scabiosa, and to me it always kind of reminds me of like scabs or something like that. But it's a beautiful flower, and it kind of like has a tissue. Just come around here that I can see what I'm doing. I should have just got my turntable this morning. It kind of has like a little feathery kind of tissue edge to it. And it's beautiful like in wedding bouquets or wedding arrangements, you know what I mean? So again, it does give a gorgeous texture to your flower arrangements. And that's kind of like what I'm trying to do here today, is have as many textures as I can in the display, but yet lots of colours and lots of varieties of flowers. So again, it's going to make a beautiful gift for somebody, but also it'll make a beautiful aisle arrangement, or whether they want to put it maybe in their house on a sideboard. So this could be used as, you know, an anniversary present, a birthday present. Like there's lots and lots of occasions that this could be used for. So when you're at a class here at Case Flower School, we will go through exactly how many stems we're using in an arrangement, what it's costing us to make, and what the selling price will be. And there is all these formulas that you will eventually have to learn, so that you're able to work out your costing and your selling prices, so that you can actually cover your overheads, you know, that way when you're running a business. Now I do want to get a little bit of foliage now, so I have some foliage here cut beside me. Now the foliage that I'm using is from Wicklow Foliage Farm. This one here we call bottle brush, you know, that way. And again, it's a lovely kind of texture, it's a lovely kind of filler, and yet it's nice and bouncy, you know what I mean? So it's a great one for filling in the backs of an arrangement, like what I'm doing here at the moment. Or at the school, we always call this the L one in the other bed. The reason why I use that name is if you were giving it as a present to somebody, maybe that was in hospital, there's always somebody in the far bed having to look at the back of your arrangement. So again, always make sure that you have your mechanics covered in. This greenie here is called Silver Sussex, or the proper name for it is Sussex Silver. But like a couple of years ago, we started to call it Silver Sussex here at the school, and it was just like the name just stuck. And from then onwards, like even the garden centres, are when our students, our followers go into the garden centres to buy a Silver Sussex, they say, you must be Case Flower School. The proper name is Sussex Silver. Again, just to kind of show you there around the back, do you see like where I have filled it in? And then I'm just going to get a tiny little bit of coverage just here and there, anywhere that I kind of felt that I needed. I don't want to overdo it too much, because I do want to keep it like nice and light, and I want every flower like to have its own little bit of space. I do feel I need another rose, so I'm just going to get a white rose here. So this is our Playa Blanca rose. And I'm just going to bring it down just that little bit lower into the arrangement, just where I feel I kind of like I need one more rose, just that little bit lower down. I'm just going to move my toffee rose up a tiny little bit, move that one down a little bit. There you go, absolutely delighted with it. And again, I'll just turn that around just so that you can see it. So we have a fabulous selection of flowers in that display. And it's not really a flower arranging technique, it's more about knowing your grouping and knowing where to place the flowers. Do you know that we actually have a free introduction or a free taster flower arranging class? We have one for fresh flowers and we have one for artificial flowers. If you're wondering, like, would online floristry or online training suit you? Would you be able to do it, like following it in a video? But also I want to show people that what I do as a demonstration is not how we actually do our classes, because I'm more using this as a sales approach rather than an actual teaching class. And with a teaching class, we can zoom in and we can show you all the detail and why we're doing it. So we actually have taster programs that you can try out at home yourself. They cost you absolutely nothing to sign up to. And again, as I said, it'll just give you the experience of what it's like to do an online flower arranging course with us. If you are interested in trying out our sampler course, drop me an email. Specify, would you prefer to do it in artificial or would you prefer to do it in fresh flowers? Drop me an email, info@caseflowerschool.com.